This Patrice Colliers, one of the three co-founders of Black Lives Matter, is now a multimillionaire. She has several very nice homes, including a multi-million-dollar home in the Los Angeles area. She drives nice cars, she takes very expensive vacations, and she's still down for the revolution. Now, this kind of hypocrisy should not surprise you when you look at Castro in Cuba, when you look at Stalin in the Soviet Union, when you look at Mao in China, when you look at Brezhnev, and so forth. These Marxists or Marxist-type governments, this is what happens. The people who are in charge live extraordinarily well. They live like billionaires. You see Maduro in Venezuela, they say he's worth tens of billions of dollars. So is Chavez. So these are the types of really sick minds that run these countries. Meanwhile, people are destitute, they can't eat, and they keep waving around the Communist Manifesto like they're for the people. Well, it's same with this particular person at Black Lives Matter, a co-founder, Patrice Colliers. A soundbite was found when she was addressing King's College in London. And I wanted you to take a listen. It's less than a minute. This is a multimillionaire. This is a Marxist anarchist. Also, this BDS movement and anti-Semitism, that's also what Black Lives Matter supports, as well as the elimination of the nuclear family. I mean, think about this. It's taken right off of Marx's Communist Manifesto, right off the 10 points that he lists out. Let's take a look. Go.
I joined the organization when I was 17 years old. And I remember the first thing I said to the organization was, do you fight police? That's what I wanted to do. I always knew I wanted to fight the police.
All right, so stop. It's a little hard to hear. She's asking, do you fight police? She wanted to join this organization. I need to know, do you fight police? Because she wants to fight police. Bizarre. Go ahead.
They were the single most sort of terrorist organization in my life.
So the police are the single most terrorist organization. You know, illiteracy aside, it's the single most terrorist organization, the police. Now let's just wait there a minute. We've now had over a year of experience with the Black Lives Matter philosophy and the philosophy of these Democrat mayors in undermining cops, in having so-called bail reform in the front door, out the back door, of Soros prosecutors not charging people with crimes, and even if they're found guilty, releasing them. So we've had experience with defunding or underfunding. We've had experience with the phony bail reform, and we've had experience with the phony prosecutors that Soros has cherry-picked and inserted in these different towns. And what has been the consequence? The consequence is that we have a massive crime wave going on in our country now, fueled by the inner cities of this country, where she and her Marxist ilk, whether a white billionaire like Soros or her, have had their way on these communities. And the people who are suffering are the people who live in these communities, mostly minorities, and mostly black people, and they are suffering badly. The murder rates in this country are hitting records every single weekend. They are through the roof. The assaults with guns, shooting, casualties are through the roof. And so we have this massive crime wave going on. So they've had their try at this. Does it work, ladies and gentlemen? No, it is a disaster. It's inhumane. Go ahead.
And I wanted to know how to fight them. I wanted to know how to keep them, hold them accountable. So I started doing work when I was 17 years old against the police. And from there, did different sorts of things, ran campaigns that focused on trying to get them out of high schools, ran campaigns that focused on decriminalizing young people's lives. And then 2 years ago, I started, 2.5 years ago now, I started an organization called Dignity and Power Now that focuses on deaths inside LA County jails as well as brutalization inside LA County jails. One of the biggest things
Now notice she doesn't focus on brutalization by the people who are in the jail before they got in the jail. What are they doing in the jail? Is everybody in jail innocent? Is every public defender on the take? Is every grand jury and every judge on the take? Is that what's going on? Of course not. This is stupid. This is stupid. People who are in prison or in jail, they're not victims. Maybe there's some tiny fraction of 1%, but as a population, they're not victims. They're criminals. Everything from God knows what, a crook to a murderer, mass murder, rapists, brutal assaults. People should be glad they're in jail regardless of their race, shouldn't they? Go.
It does not take 2,000 people to shut it down. 5 people could shut a freeway down. We did it in Los Angeles.
Now she's talking about shutting down freeways. 5 people can do it. What's the big deal? Just shut the freeway down. 5 people can do it. And why shut the freeway down? What's the point? How's that going to change society? Go ahead.
10 people can shut a Walmart down. We did it in Ferguson. But more what it's about is being determined to get your voice heard, be determined to let.
So what you're also going to find when you read your copy of American Marxism is what she's talking about there. This is all going to be relatable to specific events and specific ideologies and specific teachers, as a matter of fact, which I will introduce you to in the book. What's happening here when they're talking about protest and shutting things down, you have professors, tenured professors throughout the country. And one of the books that I looked at, which also sent me to other books to look at, which sent me to other books to look at, other so-called scholars, our children in colleges and universities are being taught to shut down highways. They're being taught to shut down Walmarts. They're being taught how to create a mob, small, medium, and big. They're being taught how to disrupt and, again, to shut down. She was obviously taught these things. Nothing she's saying is novel or unique. It's not even rare. She is regurgitating what she was taught, the indoctrination that's going on in our colleges and universities. We even have colleges and universities that give kids time off to protest. And we even have professors who you're paying, tenured professors, who are encouraging them to be violent. Violent. And some of this is going to make a lot of sense, as furious as it is. When you start thinking about last summer or events to come, when a lot of these kids who were previously in colleges and universities were at home and had time on their hands, and how these protests got bigger and bigger and bigger because they were home. They weren't in college or the university. They weren't in classroom, but they had been taught, and they were on social media, and they were communicating with each other what they learned in these classrooms. And some of them were taught how to riot, as again, you'll see in the book. It's really astonishing. Go ahead.
And your community know that we're not going anywhere. And so we've been shutting down since August 9th. We are still shutting down.
We're shutting stuff down, but notice they're not building anything. They're not contributing to anything. This is an absolutely destructive ideology and a destructive movement. I mean, Black Lives Matter. They have no intention of building a damn thing. It's all about tearing down and attacking. Same with critical race theory, the umbrella theory. Reminds me of the Middle East with the terrorists, the Palestinian terrorists, Hamas, Islamic Jihad, even with the Palestinian Authority. They don't build things. They destroy things. They attack things. Go ahead.
In Los Angeles, for example, we occupied the LAPD, Los Angeles Police Headquarters for 18 days.
She's very proud of herself. They do a lot of occupying, and they do a lot of blocking. And to what end? Well, unless you agree to go along with destroying your own country, or they're going to keep blocking and occupying. And it gets worse than that with critical race theory. You'll notice that's 2015. She doesn't talk about critical race theory in 2015 because you probably didn't even know what it was. It's really hit the fan in the last 18 to 24 months, but it's been percolating since the 1960s in the New Left movement. And these movements, which were on the fringe, which were mostly in colleges and particularly law school faculty, well, they're now right in your face. They're in the corporate boardrooms, they're on television and commercials, they're in Hollywood, they're in Disneyland, they're in your children's classrooms in public school. Of course, they're infested throughout colleges and universities. The Democrat Party embraces it. Joe Biden has pushed it through our federal government. It's here. What used to be an unhinged, insane, sort of a knucklehead ideology is now front and center.
Want to see more? Sign up for Levin TV.